amazing that sometimes God manifests in different ways. As you know, the normal thing is Wesley will tell the congregation, we're closing now. But I don't know what it is. I'm just led by the Lord today. This is what happens today. Just stand in the door and hug people as they come. You know, it's just one of those things. Sometimes it's very weird. And I know you're saying, what does that have to do with ministry and growth? You stand there, so what? You hug people, so what? You call them whatever. I don't know. There's just something that happens when you are obedient. There is something that happens. And may I say, I know and realize and understand that life is not uncomplicated. Life is not hard. Life will never be easy. It may get easier for you at certain times. And to me, sometimes as I master certain things, yes, I'm able to master certain things. As I am exposed to it, as people teach me, as I read the scripture, as I get exposed to the Word of God, I learn certain things and I master certain concepts. Not that I've mastered everything, okay, please. I will never make that representation that I know what God is doing in my life. But I already mastered the concept that I'm supposed to be in church on a Sunday. You know what I mean? That's easy. There are some easy concepts. I already mastered the concept that you stay where you're called. Even if they offer you a better package, even if they wiggle some fancy position, even if they want to say to you, you get car benefits and will educate your children. God can educate my kid. Amen. Come on. And so these things that are happening, I know that it is not an easy existence. If your existence is easy, if your existence is too easy, if you get everything that you want, then more than likely, you're not doing the will of God. Why do I say that? Because we have a sin nature. Because we have a tendency as men to do exactly what God does not want us to do. Some of us want to drink alcohol and get drunk. God does not want that. Some of us want to do drugs. God does not want that. You know? And God teaches us in certain ways, in unblurred lines, that this is what we're supposed to work, that this is what we're supposed to do. And so I am so blessed because God knows exactly what He's doing here. Because I have seen this church in worse shape. And I have seen this church in even worse shape than the worst shape. And I have been in worse shape. But not today. No. I'm going on 8 years now. Isn't that amazing? Those of you that started with me in my first year, in my first month, you know, I'm pretty sure some people were asking, can he really pastor? Actually, I did not. I thought to myself, yes, absolutely I can, but no, I cannot. It's amazing how if you understand the concept that the church is God and that your pastorate is a position that is protected by God, life will be easier. And so may I say to you, you are here today, and I am not superior to you just because, whether positionally or in authority. I am not superior to you because I am the senior pastor of the church. You have a calling in the church. You have a calling in your life. And that needs to be fulfilled. For example, some of you have grandchildren that you bring to church. You have to bring them to church. You're the one that influences them. The first teaching, the first lesson they learn when you bring your grandchild to church is that you tell them church is important. Can I say that again? It starts with you showering early in the morning and getting ready and getting dressed. And you know, in our church, we don't need to be fancily dressed, we just need to be covered up. And when you come to church, you are testifying to these people, these young people, that this is an important time. We are honoring our commitment. We are honoring our appointment. We are going to meet God today. And it does not matter if, like last week, a lot of you were gone. It did not matter that in the afternoon we came back and we had services. For those that missed the services, some did not even come. I'm saying, when we meet together, there is a purpose for that. When you are in the context of ministry, there is a purpose for that. Decide, like last Sunday was my sermon about double-mindedness. You know what I said to people, right? If you have two churches, you're wrong. And you're confused. In James, you are defined as a double-minded person. And so don't expect anything. And I'm saying this because I know that those of you who were here last week, now here, I hope that you now can go and reinforce that conviction. That Sundays, in fact, I've seen a lot of improvement. A lot of people here before, when there was a holiday, when they had a birthday, every excuse they can find to not be in church. They think, oh, well, I have to spend time with my family. Family is important. Okay, I agree. But not to the detriment of the church. Family time should be in the church. We are not building a one-on-one ministry. We are building a multi-generational ministry. And so when there are holidays, I notice that we leave. That's fine. But I hope you go to church. Either you go to church where you go and have a vacation, or you go to the afternoon service. The reason for this is, this concept of being in church is important. And it is part of God's will for your life. I have no doubt about that. That's why I see a lot of you have started to modify your schedules and give emphasis to the activities of the church, especially the time of prayer. Now we have prayer meeting on Wednesday, but this Thursday we will have our first discipleship class. Am I right, Chancellor? Okay. We will have our first discipleship class. And so I'm praying that those of you who cannot make it on Wednesday, some of you I hope will come on Thursday and attend the discipleship class. I will be there. And more than likely I will be there with my son. And you know, I'm starting, my son has started to play drums, and I'm so amazed because at that age, I didn't play drums like that. I played in a band too. He didn't know, but I played in a band too. I played in a marimba band in the Philippines, and I was a drummer, yes. And I worked my way from playing the bass to playing the snare, you know, because the snare is the one that gets all the, you know what, never mind. And so I'm starting him, I'm taking him to Wednesdays. I'm insisting that Wednesdays be part of his plans. I'm insisting that Bible studies, especially Saturdays, if you hear, be part of his plan, not playing basketball. I'm starting to insist on that. And one luxury I have, let me testify, one luxury I have is that I have pastors that teach in my stead. I can sit on a Wednesday night now. After all these years of teaching on Wednesday, I just sit here, try not to heckle the speaker. You know what I mean? And just sit with my family whenever I have the chance. And I think that's important. Now, our series today is entitled, Why He Does Not Hear. That's weird. Number 4 in the series, God Answers Prayer, the 4th of the series. Why He Does Not Hear. And some people played semantics with me the first time I taught this. Somebody said, God hears you. He just doesn't want to answer. Well, you know what? I say to you, sometimes God turns His face. So I want to talk about prayer. I want to talk about why sometimes we pray and we are not answered. And we need to know that. Because we were told in the simplistic way, there's only 3 answers to a prayer by a Christian man. Yes, no, or wait. There's no maybes. God is not waffling and dilly-dallying. He's saying, wait. And then there will be an answer. It's going to be yes or no. But there are times that we have learned how to rejoice when people say yes. We have been taught by theologians that we should wait. You have heard so many times from the pulpit how it's so hard for a man to just wait. I need a job. Wait. Fine, I'm giving you the right job. You know, I'm teaching you something. I'm sick. I need healing. Well, you will be healed, but you have to wait. It's so hard to breathe right now. I mean, to tell me 4 days, I will be. You know, the world will stop. Who will watch the children? Who will drive the car? Who will do the job? And sometimes God thinks, and we know those things theologically, we know it in our hearts. However, we do not know sometimes why, and we are not told, and the lesson is not reinforced when God says no. And I can guarantee you, in your life, God says no a lot of times. I hope so. Those of you who are fathers, again, I am now reduced to talking to men. Those of you who are fathers, I hope you say no to your children. Because if all you do is say yes to your children, that child will grow up spoiled. They will not know the parameters. They will be bad children if you just keep saying yes. Yes, it's okay. Yes, it's okay. I told Ethan, I want to be your friend, but I'm not going to be your friend. I am your father. There are times when we can be friends or act like friends, but it is going to take a really long time before we are really friends. And I'm sure it's not going to be before you turn 18, because I am your father. And I have authority and I have experience, and you need to follow the example that I am teaching. That's as simple as it goes. And so it is my belief that we are able to learn more if we know why our prayers are not answered. Because sometimes it is not up to God, it is because of our actions. The reason why the answers to prayers do not come, the blessings do not come, is not always. Okay, I don't want to make it sound like that little example where people in this church say, give $1,000 and your finances will be blessed. And a poor woman who was already in debt scrounges $1,000, gives it, and then after 8 months, it's an even worse problem because she took $1,000 that should have been used for their benefit. And when she was asked what happened, how come nothing happened? Well, I think I lack faith. And that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is we need to act on our prayers. We need to act on our faith. We need to act in the tenor of ministry. That's why it's so important that you check your lives and live your lives accordingly. Not for me, not for my sake, not for the judgment of people, but for the mere fact that when you pray, don't you want that? The anointing and the blessing and the power that God will give you so that if you pray, heaven answers. Don't you want that in your life? I do. I do. And I love it that some of you are healed. And I love it that some of you have grown. And I love it that some of you have changed. And sometimes I pause and I look at myself and I say, wow, look at the body of work. Look at your young years. Look at your mid-20s. Look at your mid-30s. And I go, wow, people change despite that. And I'm told again and again, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with God. Okay, you messed up in your past. Now be obedient. Be obedient in your present. Point number 1, unconfessing in our hearts causes for our prayers not to be answered. If you have unconfessing, the Lord will not answer. Verse 18 of Psalm 66, if I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear. Now I missed the text for that. Let me go look it up again because I wrote it down. I checked my syllabus this morning. I was a little under duress when I was doing this. Sorry. I'll read the verse. Oh, there it is. Isaiah 59, verse 2. That's the next portion. If you will write that down, right after the first verse, the one that says verse 2, Isaiah 59, verse 2. But your iniquities have separated you from God, your God, and your sins have hidden His face from you, so that He will not hear. And that's why I say sometimes God does not hear, because there is sin, and it separates you. Now, you know the solution to that? Some people I've heard some pastors go, you have to change. No? Because I am not capable of change. Not spontaneous change. Sometimes, even as I know exactly what I'm supposed to do, there is rebellion in my heart. Remember when you were dating? Young men, when you were young men, remember this. Okay? You know when you were dating? You know that girl goes to this cult, but she looks really good, you know? She's not a Christian. She doesn't think that Jesus is Lord. She doesn't think that Jesus is the Son of God, but she goes to this church. But man, she looks really good. But this girl is a cultist. Okay? This girl is a cultist. And yet, my flesh is saying, man, I at least want to hold her hand. Yeah, sure. You know? It is because of the fact that we want to do whatever it is that feels good. We want to do whatever it is that is in our heart. The truth of the matter is, you cannot do spontaneous change. Even as I knew and understood. I was saved at age 9, so I know I'm not supposed to be dating that. She's good looking, absolutely. But she does not love God. And you imagine, even in our marriages, we marry women that love God, and still, it is a work in progress. We marry women that believe in God. We marry women that believe in our ministries, that come and help, that do the work with you side by side. But still, your marriage needs work. A man came up to me, I have to side like this. A man came to me and said, well, unlike you, I admit to it. Unlike you, my marriage is perfect. Wow. do you mean? My wife does not talk back. My wife just does what I say. That's why I have no ill feelings for my wife. I never had ill feelings because my wife, she follows and we have a harmonious relationship. I am the man of the house. And I said two things in my head started clicking. I only told him one. One, you might be gay. And you just don't know it because you're doing everything that pleases her. Or two, your wife is a doormat. And I don't want to be married to a doormat. I want to be married to a woman. Any man will tell you that. And so I said, well, God bless you, but this is messed up. And let's not talk about where they are right now. You can go imagine how they are right now. When the wife is not allowed to say anything. When the wife is not allowed to take leadership roles to a certain extent. When the wife is not treated like a wife, but like an accessory, you know what will happen. I don't care if you have a lot of money. I don't care if you have a lot of power. Point number two, we cannot expect God to answer if we do not do His will. John 9:31. Now we know that God does not hear sinners. But if anyone is a worshiper of God and does His will, He will hear him. He hears him. Point A, following God's will involves living a godly life. That's what it is. We need to live a godly life. Now, here's the acid test. If you're living a godly life, you will submit to authority. Okay? Doesn't mean that you do not agree. For example, every day I really pray hard. I find it hard. But I still pray, and I work hard on praying for President Obama. Right now, these things, I just saw a poll the other day on the net. How do you rate Obama in job creation? And already, only 23,000 people have clicked, but 67% say he does not. Okay? He has not, and has not done a good job in job creation. And I look at certain things about the beliefs in partial birth abortion, about same-sex marriage. All these things, I look at it and I go, oh boy. There are a lot of things that I disagree with. You know what? I pray every day for President Obama. I do my very best to find it within me. I ask the Lord to give me strength to pray for my leadership because we are under authority. And if you are living in God's will, you will submit to authority. Now, ladies, those of you that have husbands, please, I know this has been taken to the extreme a lot of times when women are told by people at church, you must submit. Submit to who? To your husband, not to me. Sister Divina is in council. She does not submit to me. You know what I mean? She submits to her husband. That's why during holidays, when the husband wants to go on holiday, she goes, I'm not going to be there, Pastor. I need to be, okay, there you go, bye. But I don't tell her, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. No. She does not submit to me. No married woman, no single woman submits to another man in the church. We submit to one another as in the Lord, yes, but your wife does not submit to any other man. It's not her job, it's not the woman's job. If they do it, good, but it's not the women's job to get the men coffee. That's not how it works. And so, following the will of God involves living a godly life. 2 Timothy chapter 2, 15 to 18. Starting with verse 15, it says, be diligent to present yourselves approved to God. Now, here's the next portion, and I want you to understand this. A worker who does not need to be ashamed. Are you a worker? Are you a worker? Do you work? Especially in the house of God. Do you work? Now some people are going, Pastor, you're talking about earning money? No. Has nothing to do with earning money. Has everything to do with doing work. I believe, I met this lady, there's this place called 99-cent store. I love 99 cents. Because you can do all the healthy stuff. You can eat the spinach, it's only $1. You know what I mean? Instead of going to the restaurant, you buy a bag of spinach, you eat that the whole day. And you only spend $1. I love that place. So one day I was there and this woman comes in and says, well, it's my third child. And I don't work, I just stay at home. And I said, you know what, don't be sad. Because I saw a cross on her neck and I was talking to her. But don't be sad. You stay at home? Oh, you're so blessed that you can see your children. I said, yeah, but 3 children is hard. I said, yeah, when I stayed at home just for 3 months, I have only 1 son. She has two daughters, 1 son. And I said, you're doing well. You know what? When you get older, because you're younger than me, when you get older, you will find that you have invested in your children, in your family. Women, we are not called. We are called every day to make sacrifices. We are not called to sacrifice our husbands and our families for the cause of work. It is a poor woman, it's a poor wife who will sacrifice the husband, who will not defend the husband, who will cause the husband angst. It is the same thing for a husband. Submit to one another, love one another. And so, you have to be a worker. Now, do you really do work? Think about it. Do you really do work? Now, let me say this. Some of you guys, I'm busy. Yes. Me, for example, I have to ask myself, do I really do work? Because I love my job. You know what I mean? I love my job. And I do my job. And I'm here every day. Well, maybe not so much because now, in a week, the Bible school will close and then we have until September to reopen, actually late August, to come back. So maybe I'm not going to be here again every day. But I'm going to take some time off. Maybe I'll take a vacation, have 6 weeks. I don't know. Council will be notified. But the amazing thing about that is, even as you are doing your work, are you picking and choosing what you do? You do just the stuff that you love. And there's nothing wrong with doing the stuff that you love, but are you being stretched? And this is what it is. A worker does not need to be ashamed. And I don't want to feel like, oh, I did everything. The only things I do in church is preach, then I delegate to my staff, and I don't want to be like that. There are days when I have to mop. But the effort freaks out when I do that. I start mopping and this and that. Pastor, I'll do it. No, you sit down. I don't want to die early. Oh man. It's the truth. We need to move. There are certain things that I need to do in tandem with the people that are serving in the church. A worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun the profane and idle babblings, for they will increase to more ungodliness, and their message will spread like cancer. The example, Hymenaeus and Philetus are of this sort, who have strayed concerning the truth, saying that the resurrection is already past, and they overthrow the faith of some. You know, there's a person, pray for this, I'm not going to say the name, but there's a person who's not coming to church right now because we sat him down, actually I sat him down and told me, back in the old days, when you have something bad to say about another person, we were raised like this. We tell each other to our faces. You and me. We tell each other to our faces. I think my battery's dead, huh? What do you think? No? It's okay. We tell each other to our faces. In my neighborhood, that's what we do. We don't talk. If I want to talk bad about Bobby, I face Bobby and say, this is you. I don't tell Sam. No, it's not Bobby is. But this person, I noticed, every time he would do certain things and lie. He would do certain things and misrepresent. He would say to you, oh, I did not do that. He would say to people, you would confide in him, and I would confide in him certain things about ministry, and he would start going around babbling. Pastor did this, pastor did that. And you know what? I'm used to people like that. I'm used to people who are backstabbers. In fact, I'm so used to people not coming up to me and telling me exactly what they feel. But in my neighborhood, we call that gay. Yes. We call that weak. That's what we call that in our neighborhood. We weren't raised like that. You know? In fact, even the gay men in my neighborhood confronted you to your face. We didn't do that. That's what we said. It's a weak thing. And when people are hearing the ministry, and I know you've seen this, and you might have an idea who this person is. I'm praying that he will come back and face up to what is his responsibility. Because the truth of the matter is you cannot go around babbling satangas all the time. You cannot be attacking people verbally. Because there is a danger in that. There is a danger. We need to shun profane and idle babblings, for they will increase to more ungodliness. You cannot just keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. I don't know if you noticed, but I have noticed. Let me just talk for me. Nowadays, I have learned to shut up. It used to be, I was so happy to just keep on talking and telling stories, and I said, you know what, they've heard all the stories, it's all out there now. Just relax. Part of God's will, point B, part of God's will is for us to go to church. I like this little illustration, don't go to church, be the church. Hebrews 10:25 says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as in the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. Do you see the day approaching? Is there any sense in you that you feel that Jesus is already coming? That's why we cannot wallow in self-pity. That's why we cannot wallow in hurt. That's why we cannot just sit there and do nothing. Those of you that are depressed because some bad things you feel, as far as you feel happen to you, let me share to you what I always tell my staff. They look at me and they ask, how come you're so calm? How come you're okay with this? I said, I'm not okay with it. But how come you're not reacting this way or that? Especially people who knew me from before. And I say to them, this too will pass. I'm sick. This too will pass. Because it will pass. God will heal me or I will die. And I'm not afraid to die. I don't have any money. Well, this too will pass. This too will pass. God will give me a job. Or God will provide me a way out. Right? These people hate me. Well, this too will pass. Just look at the church. People that hate me, they go left. And then they come back. I don't know why. Even in the Spanish church, in our Spanish churches, there are people there that said, we're leaving. No, they're here. Or maybe it's because Pastor Bermudez is teaching. Maybe. It's okay. God be the glory, right, Pastor? No problem there. But they're back. Why is that? Because it too will pass. It too will pass. And so sometimes we just need to see the parameters of where we need to be. We just need to just see the parameters of the required behavior for us. And the other thing about this, but shun profane and idle babblings, for they will increase to more ungodliness. Let me share this. This is a serious thing as far as I'm concerned. Can you pay attention to this for a couple of minutes? Maybe I'm babbling here and you're entertained, I don't know. But I want to tell you this as pastoral instruction. In all seriousness, stop asking people questions about their lives when you already know what the answer is. Be careful about talking about other people's crises. Because someday it might be you. Be careful, okay? I'm saying to us as a group. There was a time when gossip was really rampant in this church. It actually has gotten for the better. Be careful when you associate with gossips. And when you find that there are people that ask for confidentiality, be ready to hold that to your grave. It is not for us to ask people and say, you know ministry, you understand ministry, how come you've never been in crisis? You've never been in a position of lack of confidence? You've never been in a position of doubt? It says here, shun profane and idle babbling. If you're going to talk about what's wrong with my life, let me use me. If you're going to talk about what's wrong with my life, come to me with a solution. Don't just say, I'm sorry, I heard that. And communications with me where you're a pastor and you're like that? Yes. No, I'm not perfect. But there are some people who are not like me. There are some people who are not strong in character like me. When I'm talking strong, it's not the positive strong, but that I can take a lot. I can take pressure. I'm different that way. There are some people that need to be protected, and these are your brothers and your sisters. Stop asking the obvious questions. Act because you already know the answer. That's what you need to do. Be an encouragement. It is so hard. You know, I remember this, there are people before, especially in the beginning of my ministry, who will go and say, "You're a pastor and you act that way?" And I'm thinking, oh man, you know, when I hear that before, I would revert to my old ways. I would start wishing we were in a room alone. You already know I'm a pastor. You really think this life is easy? You really think being a pastor's wife is easy or a pastor's kid is easy? You really think that being a worker in the church is easy? You really think that being in a Bible school is easy? Do you really think that when you do the right thing, it would be easy? And why are we then verbally assaulting each other in the guise of caring and asking questions? Please, listen to the Holy Spirit as He leads you. Because being Filipino, I have that tendency. I want to know everything. Brother Barry, how old is your girlfriend? Where does she live? Do you send money? Brother Barry, did you talk last night? Brother Barry, can I see your phone? Are you talking to her? Can I stand behind you? I have to go in. See, some of you did not know that I have to hold myself back. My curiosity. Because these are not the things that we talk about. Me and Brother Barry, we don't talk about these things. These are not the things we talk about in the morning. That's idle. And I don't want to be like Philetus. I don't want to be like Hymenaeus. Part of God's will for us is to go to church. Part of God's will is for you to encourage each other to go to church. Part of God's will is to be sure that you are not harassing people. Can you listen to me? Can you hear me? That you are not harassing people when they are going to church. People are not called, we are not called to behave towards your standards or mine. That is scripture. Follow the perfect level. Follow the perfect standards. Verse 25 of Hebrews 10:25. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as in the manner of some. And so much, and exhorting one another. We already talked about that. And so much, the more as you see the day approaching. Because the Lord, He is coming. Point number 3, but not the least, we need to be united before God. Manifest His will in answered prayer. Any church that I know that has grown needs to be united. And we need to be united in that. We need to start. We need to work on it. I need to work on it. I need to work on it in my family. I need to work on it in my household. Happy to say I don't need to work on it on my staff. I really believe that God has purged everyone that's not supposed to be here. If you don't have a calling here, really you shouldn't be here. Do you agree? I'm not being territorial. If you're not called to be here, the other day a wise old man told me, well, a wise older man, not so old. So Pastor Carlos, I guess it's not you. A wiser older man told me, 1, he reminded me, you have to love your enemies. 2, he said, if people are called by God to serve here, we should not need to be calling them. We do not need to be calling them. We do not need to be asking them. We do not need to be dangling carrots. If they are called and they are called here, they should obey so that they will be blessed. Because this place is a place of blessing. This place is a place of blessing. And there are some things that are problems of people. The solutions are in the church. The other day we were talking, give me some time. We were talking about the homeless problem. I asked some people, why is there a homeless problem? Okay, to shorten the discussion, I said, the reason we have a homeless problem is because we have lost our sense of community. That is strong in this church because we have people that do not have homes that live here. And you know what? The people that live here are not homeless anymore. And I'm not talking about just because they have a roof over their heads. I'm talking in terms of they are not homeless in their hearts. They are not homeless in their minds. They are growing, they are hearing the word. They are changing and they are accomplishing things in their life. They found out, like I found out, that I don't need my own home. I just don't need to be homeless. I really don't. I just need to be able to rest at night and come to work and then do whatever it is that God is asking me to do. Matthew 18:19 says, again I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Do everything in your capacity in order that we will become united. Force yourselves. Yes, did you hear me? Again, before you go and wander around, I know we're closing. Pay attention, I'm not done with the preaching. Force yourselves, okay? Force yourselves to apply yourselves in ministry. Find your niche. When you are sad, when you are hurt, that is not the time to stay at home and be alone. That is the time to apply yourself in ministry. Ask yourselves, how long have I been coming to this church? Am I growing? Well, I'm a member of this group, and I do this and I do that. You've been doing that the last 5 years. Find the growth. Those of you who are teaching, are you teaching the same people again and again and again and again? Find people who need to hear the word of God. You know? Anyone of you think that you need to teach me a Bible study? Anybody, if you have a pastor, can do this. Should you be teaching me? I mean, you know, we'll sit in your Bible study, but do you feel that you need to educate me? I hope you don't. I'm okay with being, you know, the Lord said, this is my verse and you want to share it with you, okay. But will you open a Bible study in your house just so I can come and be taught? I hope not. So we do not need to teach these people that are already trained. We do not need to teach people who are supposed to be teaching, who are supposed to be doing ministry. We need to teach people who need to learn and know. And some of us, we have been in ministry for the longest time. We are comfortable. We've been leading this group for 7 years. We've been doing this and that for 8 years, 12 years, 14 years. Where is the growth? Where is the stretching? Where is the push? I hope that you know what I'm talking about. I really hope that you are listening. I'm belaboring this point because it is important. I'm belaboring this point because we need to grow as a church. We cannot just keep coming on Sunday sitting on the pews. Find your place of discomfort in the church. Can I say that? Find your place of discomfort in the church. And watch how the ointment of God will heal you after you stretch and make you grow. And when you grow, you will see how powerful God is. It is my hope and prayer that every day, not just Sundays, but every day, because we do ministry every day, as God shows the changes, there will be changes in the church, there will be changes in the structure, the physical structure, there will be changes in the people that are coming, there will be changes in the work that we are doing outside. I hope that you get familiar with it. I hope that you take part. And again, it is my hope and prayer that as God heals you, provides for you, give you the things that you need, that you would grow. May God add His blessing to the reading, the preaching, the teaching of Scripture in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.